Hey guys, so in the last lecture, we were seeing the various conference of parties session held. So we have seen 1995 to 2001. So now we'll see from 2001. So what were the major decisions taken in this conference of party? So in 2001, the COP was held in Morocco, Marrakech, Morocco. So the major decisions were taken where parties agreed on a package deal with key features including rules for ensuring compliance with committee's considerations of LU, LUCF principles in reporting of such data and limited banking of units generated by sinks under CDM, that is Clean Development Mechanism. The extent to which carbon dioxide absorbed by carbon sinks can be counted towards Kyoto targets. So the meeting also adopted the Marrakech Ministerial Declaration, that is Marrakech Ministerial Declaration, as an input into the World Summit on Sustainable Development in Johannesburg. Then in 2002, that is 2002, the Conference of Party was held in New Delhi. So this was held in New Delhi, India. So COP is adopted in Delhi Ministerial Declaration that amongst others called for effort by developed countries to transfer technology and minimize the impact of climate change on developing countries. So it is also approved the New Delhi Work Frame Program on Article 6 of the Convention. Then in 2003, so the conference was held in Italy. So it was held in Italy, and the parties agreed to use the adoption fund established at COP7 in 2001. So the parties agreed to use the adoption fund established at COP Conference of Party 7 in 2001, primarily in supporting developing countries better adapt to climate change, and the fund would also be used for capacity building through technology transfer. At this COP9, the parties also agreed to review the first national report submitted by 110 non-annexure 1 countries. Then in 2004, so this 2004 is COP10. This is the 10th meeting was held in Argentina. So this was held in Argentina. So in COP10, it was discussed the progress made since the first COP. So 1 to 10, what progress has been made. So the first COP was 10 years ago, and its future challenges with special emphasis on climate change mitigation and adaptation. So to promote developing countries better adapt to climate change, the Buenos Aires Plan of Action, uh, the Buenos Aires Plan of Action was adopted, and the parties also began discussing the post Kyoto mechanism on how to allocate emission reduction obligation following 2012 when the first commitment period ends. In 2012, the first commitment period ends. Then in 2005, so this was 11th CO. So in 2005, so this was 11th COP or MOP1. So it was held in Montreal. So Montreal, Canada. So COP11 addressed issues such as capacity building, development, and transfer of technology, the adverse effect of climate change on developing and least developed countries, and several financial and budget related issues. So the guidelines of GEP, that is Global Environment Facility, which serves the convention financial mechanism, the COP also agreed on process for considering future action beyond 2012. So what we'll do after 2012 when the commitment period ends under the UNFCCC. So then in 2006, so this conference was held in Nairobi, Kenya. So a wide range of decisions were made and adopted at COP12. So designed to mitigate the climate change and help the countries adapt to the effects. There was agreement on the activities for the next few years under the Nairobi Work Program on Impact, Vulnerability and Adaptation, as well as on the management of the adoption framework under Kyoto Protocol. Parties welcome the Nairobi framework. So this was given Nairobi framework, which will provide additional support. So this will provide additional support to the developing countries to successfully develop products projects under for the CDM. The parties in Nairobi also adopted rules of procedure for the Kyoto Protocol's Compliance Committee, making it fully operational. Then in 2007, so this was COP13, it was held in Indonesia. So Bali, Indonesia. So in 2013, the Bali Roadmap, a two-year process towards a strengthened international climate change agreement. So Bali Roadmap includes Bali Action Plan that was adopted by decision 1 by 13 framework. So then in 2000 and so next then in 2008, so the COP14 was held. So in 2008, so this was held in Poland. So COP14 launched the adoption fund. So that is adaptation fund. So under Kyoto Protocol to be filled by a 2% levy on projects under CDM, parties agreed that Adoption Fund Board should have legal capacity to grant direct access to the developing countries. Further progress was made on a number of issues of particular importance to developing countries, including adoption, finance, technology, trade, and disaster management. Then in 2009, so this COP15, it was held in Denmark. So the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference raised. So this Copenhagen Climate Change Conference raised climate change policy to the highest political level, with close to 115 world leaders attending the high level segment. It produced the Copenhagen Accord. So this was Copenhagen Accord, which was supported by majority of countries. So this included agreement on the long-term goal of limiting the maximum global average temperature increase to no more than 2 degrees Celsius. So not it should not increase more than 2 degrees Celsius. So about pre-industrial levels subject to review up to 2015, a number of developing countries agreed to communicate their efforts to limit the emissions greenhouse gases emissions every 2 years. On long-term finance, developed countries agreed to support a goal of mobilizing around 100 billion dollars, 100 billion US dollars a year by 2020, a year by 2020 to address the needs of developing countries. So it's a very huge amount. Then in 20, so this was 2009. So then in 2010, so this was COP16. So this was held in Mexico. So COP16 produced the Cancun Agreements. So it was held in Cancun. So Cancun Agreements, among the highlights, parties though who were the parties, they agreed that to commit to a maximum temperature rise of 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, make fully operational by 2012 a technology mechanism to boost development and spread of new climate friendly technologies, establish a green climate fund. So this is establish a green climate fund to provide financing for action in developing countries via thematic funding windows. So then in 2011, this was 17 conference. So this was held in Durban, South Africa. So the COP17 parties decided to adopt a universal climate agreement by 2015 with work beginning under a new group called ad hoc working group. So this was ad hoc working group on the Durban platform for enhanced action. There is ADP. So parties also agreed a second commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol from 1st January 2013. Then in 2012, the next conference was held in Doha, Qatar. So at this COP18, governments set out a timetable to adopt the Universal Climate Agreement. So Universal Climate Agreement by 2015. So to come into effect in 2020. So they completed the work under the Bali Action Plan to concentrate on a new work towards 2015 agreement under a single negotiating stream, the ADP. Then in 2013, the conference was held in Poland. So in this conference, the Warsaw Mechanism was proposed. So this was the place in Poland where the conference was held, that is Warsaw. So here the Warsaw Mechanism was proposed, which would provide expertise and possibly aid to developing countries to cope up with the loss and damage from such natural extremities as heat waves, droughts, floods, and threats such as rising sea levels and desertification. So this was the major uh, things discussed. Then in 2014, so in 2014, the conference was held in Lima, Peru. So in Lima, Peru, the overarching goal of the conference was to reduce the greenhouse gas emission to limit the global temperature increase to 2 degrees Celsius above current levels. Then in 2015, so in 2015, so the conference was held in Paris, France. So this is the main important agreement. So negotiations resulted in adoption of the Paris Agreement on 12th December. So this you must have heard very in recent time that Donald Trump withdrew from the Paris Agreement, and then now the president, that is Joe Biden, again joined the Paris Agreement. So what was this agreement? So this agreement was governing climate change reduction measures from 2020. So the adoption of this agreement ended the work of the Durban platform established during the COP17. So from this year, this is 2021, so the Paris Agreement work will come into the effect. So which is now. Then in 2016, the conference was held in Morocco. So Morocco, a focal issue of COP 2022. So this was COP 2022. Is that the water scarcity, cleanliness, and water-related sustainability. So in this Morocco, everything was discussed for the water. So a major problem in the developing world, including many African states. So the water was discussed in very important way. So after this also COP were held, so 2017 to 2021, but we will discuss till 2016 only. So once again, I will revise all the conference is held from 1995 to 2016. So 1995. So the 1995 was the Berlin Mandate. Then in 1996 it was Geneva Ministerial Declaration. Then 1997 was Kyoto Protocol. Then in 1998 it was Buenos Aires Plan of Action. Then in 1999 in Bonn, Germany, the focus was on the adoption of the guidelines and no major decisions were taken. Then in 2000 the Bonn Agreement were signed. Then in 2001 the Morocco Marrakech, that is uh, Marrakech Ministerial Declaration was signed. Then in 2002 the Delhi Ministerial Declaration was adopted. Then in 2009 the adoption fund was given to the various developing countries. Then in 2004, so the Buenos Aires Plan of Action was adopted. Then in 2005, so the Montreal Protocol that was adopted. Then in 2006, the Nairobi Work Program on Impact, Vulnerability and Adoption, that is Nairobi Framework, was discussed and was taken into the action. Then in 2007, the Bali Action Plan was adopted. Then in 2008, the Adoption Fund under the Kyoto Protocol to be filled by a 2% levy on the projects for the Clean Development Mechanism. Then in 2009, so in 2009, the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference, that is Copenhagen Accord, was supported by majority of the countries and around $100 billion. So this is a very much big amount, that is $100 billion a year by 2020 to address the needs of the developing countries was given. Then in 2010, Mexico, the Cancun Agreements and Green Climate Fund was given for the financing action for the developing countries. Then in 2011, Durban, South Africa, the uh, the the Durban Plan for Enhanced Action, this ADP, was agreed by the parties from the period of the Kyoto Protocol. Then in 2012, there is Doha, Qatar, the COP18. The governments set out a timetable to adopt a universal climate agreement by 2015 and New York towards in 2015 agreement. Then in 2013, Poland, so the Warsaw Mechanism was proposed. Then in 2014, the greenhouse gases reduction by up to 2 degrees Celsius uh, was was proposed as a goal, as an overarching goal. And in 2015, the Paris Agreement was adopted by major countries. That the goal was to governing the climate change reduction measures from 2020. Then in 2016, this is last, the Macric Morocco focal issue was about the water scarcity, cleanliness, and sustainability. So these are the major all the conference of the parties COP which were held in different countries, and different actions, major decisions were taken. So the goal of this all the parties and actions is to reduce the emission of the carbon, to control the environment, and to control means to maintain the environment in good position. So that is the our goal. So in future also, in after 2020 21, This conference of parties will be held, and the goal will be the remain same, to maintain the environment in good condition. So thank you very much. So this was all the conference of parties. So we'll see in the next lecture. Another topic is budget lamp